Something worth noting about certain Etruscan sites is that they are not mentioned in ancient historical or epigraphical texts, inscriptions on statues or edifices. The same can be said of ancient British sites. Were they not noticed? Could it be because they're chronologically modern? Is it because they are so ancient that they had long ceased to exist by the time that cultures like the Romans and Greeks would have accounted for them? Or, is it possible that everything we have that pertains to Roman and Greek accounts are forgeries created by the priests? I do not have the answer to these difficult questions. But there is enough evidence from all over the world to know something vile is afoot regarding history and its chronology. For example, Carl Phillips noted that the site of Poggio Civitate was destroyed in an intentional and ritualistic manner on account of the construction of the mound and the burial of the architectural decoration away from the building. But none of this proves what happened. The elaboration of these events in allegories and mythology adds to the farrago because it isn't specific about what caused the destructions of the locations we do have access to, and then combined with the fact that these allegories oftentimes are not even historical locations to begin with, but the names of the mythical locations were later ascribed to physical locations. Even then, what classifies as destruction? What if a port was partially destroyed by a natural disaster, or an act of war, and in order to restore function the rest of it had to be destroyed so it could be rebuilt properly? What if they were ceremoniously destroyed after becoming unsafe? According to Ed Lundberg, Moore. ATR. Pages 22-24, at the sanctuary of Gravisca, the harbor town of Tarquinia, the early cults included the worship of the Greek deities Aphrodite, Hera, Demeter, and Apollo. These were replaced by Etruscan cults in the 5th and 4th centuries BC, including a healing cult in the 4th century BC. The sanctuary at Gravisca is unusual in that it began as a Greek sanctuary in Etruscan territory in the 6th century BC. The change of cults reflects a recognition of the fact that once a sanctuary had been established, it could not be eliminated without good reason. At the same time, the shift that took place at a large number of sanctuaries in the 4th century BC shows that the old cults were replaced, transformed, or augmented through the introduction of healing cults. Without written evidence, we cannot tell what models the Etruscans followed in determining whether a site should be abandoned forever or rebuilt. The references by Servius and other ancient authors such as Varro and Festus to the procedures for founding and unfounding cities suggests that the Etruscans, and later the Romans, realized the importance of regulating changes caused by political or social events. In the case of sanctuaries, stability existed where the cults remained constant, but both Etruscans and Romans accepted that changes could occur, and made provisions for securing a relatively smooth transition from one cult to another. In Etruria and central Italy, the appearance and rapid spread of healing cults in the 4th century BC caused a major change in both beliefs and cult practices, whereas in Rome, new deities, introduced throughout the Republic, received their formal acceptance with the construction of a temple built in their honor. Ladies and gentlemen, I suspect here we have the foundations of the new system being laid. I used some of the brightest minds in the history of religion to go deep into the origins of church in spirit world, Terminalia, click the image, among them Reverend Robert Taylor, who was falsely imprisoned for blasphemy for exposing it. This system eventually became the Universal, or Catholic, Church. Reverend Taylor wrote in his Diegesis, regarding the origins of Christianity coming out of Egypt, not a doubt was entertained that a similar series of adventures was proof of one and the same hero, and that the Grecian Apollo, the Phoenician Adonis, the Aesculapius of Athens, the Osiris of Egypt, the Christ of India, were but various names of the selfsame deity, so that nothing was so easy at any time as the business of conversion. Not incredulity, but credulity, is the characteristic propensity of mankind. Aesculapius and Jesus are both gods of healing and miracle work, thus Therapeutae or Essenes signify healers and miracle workers. Note that Hera, Our Lady, is in the word Therapeutae. The god of the Old Testament is the Phoenician Adonis. Look no further than the word for Lord that is used for God, Aduni. I suspect the chronological farrago that stumps the majority of historians, along with other inquirers like myself, and makes a mess of history, is a direct result of what we see in Etruria during these times. Here I suspect is when the monks used their influence to centralize power and begin their religious conquest of Europe. Become a member to access the rest of this article. If you've never been a member and want a comped month to see if my work is a good fit for you, follow these simple instructions.